No Man's Sky, a new video game coming out very soon for PlayStation and PC, possibly others, but I don't know, is a video game, an open world video game where you can travel to lots and lots of planets, thousands and more. Probably, yeah. Well, actually, I've heard millions, but basically a lot of freaking planets to the point where probably you'll never, if you play the entire game, it'll probably take you for the rest of your life. Like that big, apparently. But this is in a virtual world, a virtual video game world. It looks pretty cool, I will say. It looks pretty cool, and if I ever got my hands on a copy, I would definitely try it out and play it. Make some Let's Play videos possibly for it. But meanwhile, in reality, in the real world, we have basically done next to nothing to make that kind of thing happen. We, as human beings, have basically, all we have done is basically left the surface of the Earth. We're basically touching the surface of the Earth still with the International Space Station. The furthest we have ever gotten is to the moon. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that we have made such little progress over the past few decades in terms of space travel to the point where we are nowhere near close to the kind of reality that is in a video game like No Man's Sky, and it'll probably take a very long time at this rate for such a thing to occur, or to begin with. But I want to bring this up because I think this is a good opportunity to bring this up right now, because of a game like No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky shows me that there are people out there who are still very interested in space travel, space exploration, and I'm hoping the game does well, and that would encourage me to, like, hey, there's still people out there who want to do this, and it's more than I have my doubts about. There's more people than I'm expecting there to be, basically, that will be interacting with this game and be playing it. But yeah, so we have done very little in the past couple of decades, and I honestly don't think you can deny that. I mean, if you think about it really hard, you look at it really hard. The past 3 to 4 decades, we could have done so much more than we have already done. And I'm not saying we haven't done anything at all. We have done stuff. We sent out probes. NASA sent out probes. The Russian Space Agency has sent out probes as well. Different space agencies have sent out probes to explore the solar system and beyond. We have used telescopes to map out the galaxy and beyond. But at the same time, we have done very little other than that. And I think it's time that we wake up our inner exploratory selves and become interested again in take a bigger interest in space exploration and space settlement, because it has been too long. It's been too long, in my opinion. To me, it's just, I'm not saying that, in 10 years we'll get like a ton of stuff done to the point where it would be like No Man's Sky. To me, that's very unlikely. Very, very, very unlikely. But I feel like if we put more effort towards it, we can get more done. And again, I'm just going to say it again, these past couple of decades, they have been disappointing. What we could have potentially have done, it's just the potentialness of what we could have done. I feel like it's just been squashed. I feel like people and the governments of those people have got distracted with these affairs on Earth, and some of them were important, some of them not so important. And I feel like we have wasted time. We have wasted energy and effort that could have potentially been used. We are procrastinating too hard. We are delaying. We are distracting ourselves way too hard. This is procrastination, people, on a very wide, very big schedule. I mean, time frame, not schedule. There is no schedule. Not that I know of, anyway. I don't think anyone's intentionally doing that. Like, yeah, we're going to procrastinate people from going into space. Yeah, no, I just think people are just not that interested for some reason. Maybe because it seems hard. Maybe because it seems like it's a lot of money. There are private space companies out there. There's SpaceX. There's Boeing. So that is encouraging to see that. It's encouraging to see that it's not just a government thing anymore. There's also private entities involved, because that's going to be the future of space travel. There will be private entities involved as well as public government entities involved as well. However, like I've said for the 5th time or 6th time already, we have definitely wasted potential. We have wasted time. And that's just something it just frustrates me. It just does. And to see a game come out like No Man's Sky, where you can travel to tons of planets and tons of solar systems and just explore all around. And then to look at our own reality and to see we have accomplished so little compared to a game like No Man's Sky. And even, I'm not saying like, what I'm trying to say basically is, like, even if we had bases or we had settlements already on the moon and on Mars, you know, I would be happy with that. I'm not saying we should have it be like No Man's Sky. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that realistically speaking, if we had put our time and our energy and our efforts more so into the space race, more so into space travel and space settlement, I believe we could have done so much more with it in the past few decades. If we were able to get a man on the moon in around 1 decade, from what JFK said, yeah. Imagine what we could have done, you know, those 3 decades afterwards, those 4 decades afterwards. And I just feel like we haven't done much with that. Basically, I'm not saying it has to feel like No Man's Sky, but let's make some more progress, guys. Let's make some more progress on space we and just exploration, settlement, just space stuff all together. There's more we can do than we're already doing. We have the potential to do this. We even have better computers now than back in the 60s. I mean, we have computers, obviously, that can make these worlds, and it can generate millions of worlds, like it is for No Man's Sky. And if the computers can do that these days, think of what they can do for space travel, for real space travel, real exploration, because it's possible. So, just think about that, guys, and I hope that you are still watching, because I really appreciate that you are. Just think about space travel, keep it in the back of your heads, especially with a game like No Man's Sky coming out. Keep that in mind when you're playing the game or when you've heard about the game. Think about how little we have done to accomplish that in real life compared to a game like No Man's Sky. And just think about what the future holds, and let's not waste any more time. Let's get out there. Let's get back out in space. Let's put more effort into it again.